Hi everybody, Dan Ullman, Matt Bernier for the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day. Friday's Race of the Day is at Del Mar. Let's take a look at the field for the Solana Beach Stakes. It's race number 7 at 1.16 on the turf, Calbred or sired. Field of 8 pre-scratches and program changes. Remember to head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download your free Formulator past performances and handicap along with us as we take this field in post-position order. The number 1 is Moonless Sky. Only beaten a length by a couple of these last time out. I think this filly is in good form. I think there's a little bit of upside potential, and she looms a contender in the spot.
There's plenty of things to like here about her. She's in good recent form. She's got a couple of buyer speed figures that are comparable anyway to some of the best in here. I guess I kind of just look at her and say, of the horses that could possibly come from off the pace, there's one that I'm more interested in.
The key to this race is how much do you value recency? A horse like Moonless Sky has recency. She's raced 6 times this year. She has already raced once at the Del Mar meet. The horse to beat, the number 2, Majestic Heat, has not been seen at all this year. We have not seen her since Breeders' Cup weekend when she ran an okay 4th in a paceless edition of the Grade 2 Goldacova Stakes. This horse has run well fresh. She's the class of the race. Are you terrified about the layoff?
It's not ideal. I mean, let's make that clear. But I will say Richard Mandella does quite well. Past 2 years, turf, 180 plus day layoff in route races, 4 for 13 with a 310 ROI. 9 of them have hit the board. So the other thing, too, to keep in mind about this filly, or mare at this point, she's 5 years old, she had a similar layoff last year leading into this race. Now, I know that she had gotten a start about a month prior at Santa Anita last year, but before that, she was gone for about 7 or 8 months. So it's not as though this is a totally uncommon thing for her, and she has come back and she's run well. The other thing is, boy, she just, not only did she lay over the field on figs, she's got a major tactical advantage.
Let's look at the Timeform US pace projector for the Solana Beach. They have the number 2 Majestic Heat on the lead. That shows you how slow this pace could be. Majestic Heat has never been on the lead at the pace call in any one of her 11 races. The fact that Timeform US projects her to be out there on an easy lead, it just shows there's not a lot of pace in this race, and if you're backing a closer, it's something to be very mindful of.
100%. You've got to be concerned that if you are coming from the back of the pack, you're not going to get the setup needed in front of you. And I have a sneaky feeling we may be looking at almost a carbon copy of last year's Solana Beach, where this filly is out there pretty darn close to the pace, and she makes every step.
I've always been a fan of the number 3, Kiona. She hasn't won since New Year's Day. I wonder if the pace is going to work against her. Perhaps she had her speed sharpened up by a turf sprint last time out when she was in against a very hot horse in Algorithmic. Her race 2 back on the synth, okay. She was in for 62.5. She's the kind of one for me that maybe makes your exotics underneath.
That's the way I'd be looking at her, because you look at it, her most recent victory came January 1st, 2016 over Soft going up at Golden Gate. It's a scenario where I wonder if her best days are behind her now at this point. Keep in mind she's 7 years old.
Starlight Style, the number 4, attracts Joe Talamo. She's won her last 3 races. She's coming into this race off of about a 2-month layoff or so. She is a true closer, an in-form closer that's run well at Del Mar in the past. Is she sharp enough in her form right now to overcome a slow pace against better horses?
I don't think so. There's something to be said about being in good form. There's also something to be said about being slow on paper. And I know she's the kind of horse I love. She's ripped off 3 in a row. It took her a long, long time to break her maiden, but once she did, she finally put it together. The problem is her career best number of 79 just simply not fast enough.
Lynn's Legacy won at Del Mar last year. That led to a race in the Del Mar Oaks where she was simply overmatched. Since then, it's been nothing but fits and starts from Lynn's Legacy from a form standpoint. Okay, 2 back in a turf sprint. I was really disappointed with her most recent race. Now, maybe it was asking too much, stretching out from 6.5 to 1 1/8 in a race without much pace, but I needed to see more.
If I can't make a positive case for Starlight Style, I can't do it for Lynn's Legacy.
How about How Unusual? Last time out was a pretty good performance considering she was coming into that race off a 6+ month layoff. Also, she showed much improved tactical speed. How Unusual has some races. The race of the American Oaks, I thought 3 starts back on New Year's Eve, was actually a pretty good performance. It's just been a shame for Michael Pender. It's taken him a long time to get her back to the races.
She's still won. I know she started 15 times, but she's only gone out twice as a 4-year-old. So you wonder if maybe she's still putting things together, and she's only started twice as a 4-year-old with a giant gap in between those 2 races. So second off the bench, maybe she moves forward. I have to be honest, that most recent start, it was good. I know she had to wait a little bit at the top of the lane. That was a perfect trip. It worked out really well. She had a bunch of overmatched horses in and around her. She finished well. There's another horse in here out of that race that I prefer.
I know you're not dressed to a T's biggest fan. I think maybe she wants a little bit more distance. The Oceanitas came up a pretty salty race, though, this year. You had Mrs. McDougal, a legitimate graded type, coming off of a long layoff. The winner, Madam Stripes, is okay. Dressed to a Key just didn't really fire in that spot. I wonder if she needs a little bit more ground, although it is worth noting that one of the also-rans of that race, another one, the 9th place finisher, came back to win a stake at Santa Rosa with only an 83 buyer.
You just look at her two most recent victories. They were well spaced out, but at 1.25 miles and 1 3/8, I agree. This is 1 mile and 16th. I think she's going to be coming from the back of the pack. You can make the case from a class standpoint that she might actually be the class of the race outside of Majestic Heat. I still just don't love her.
She has the right stuff, has run very well at Del Mar. She's won the last 2 times. She's traveled over the turf course here. Nice rallying win last time out against non-winners of 2 other than competition. I think this filly's in really good form for Patty Gallagher, who's having a superb meet.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know what? If there was some more pace, I'd probably be interested in trying to upset the apple cart with her. The problem is, I think she's going to work out a similar trip to the one she did most recently off that layoff. The problem is, that was at 1.8 miles. She only gets 1 mile and 16th to work with here. And I think the quality in this race, if the big girl comes back the way that we last saw her, I think she's better than what she faced in that most recent race.
Let's take a look at our top selections for Friday's DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day. We're both going to go with the number 2 Majestic Heat. To me, she's not really the filly, a kind of filly I'd want to bet to win from a single race standpoint, because you know she's going to be short. And we do have that layoff question looming over her head. But she would be the horse I would be leaning on most in multiple race exotics, especially if I have a longer priced horse or 2 in a sequence.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel bad. Well, I don't want to say I feel bad, but I mean, this is just a situation where I kind of chalked out because I think this is a very formful race. I think she's going to get the run of the race. I think she has the right stuff, is in great form. To me, it would either be a heavy, cold exacta, or if you want to try to expand a little bit, How Unusual's got that tactical speed. I think she's involved in it a little bit as well. And Moonless Sky, you can't count her out because, like you said, she's in good form.
2861 for Matt, 213 for me in the $150,000 Solana Beach Stakes from Del Mar, race number 7. If you're playing the Del Mar Friday card from home, please sign up to DRF Bets. Good deal, 10% win place takeout on 10 select tracks, including Del Mar, all summer long, plus a $300 cash bonus. Learn more at drf.com/take10. Approximate post time for the 7th at Del Mar on Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific. Best of luck.